I've been needing to find a new apartment, which has not been easy with credit as bad as mine. Luckily, I found cosigning.com. They connected me with a cosigner who helped me get my dream apartment for me and my dog. I just paid a small fee and was able to move in fast. Get the cosigner you need for the apartment you want. Check out cosigning.com today.
We have breaking news. ABC has just announced here that they will be preempting the very well-known show Jimmy Kimmel Live indefinitely. That's confirmed by ABC, and it comes at a very tense time with many of the issues we've been covering tonight. There was a backlash on the right because Jimmy Kimmel, after the Charlie Kirk shooting, made the statement that he viewed, quote, new lows with the MAGA gang desperately trying to characterize this kid who murdered Charlie Kirk as anything other than one of them, and with everything they can to score political points from it, end quote. I've just read part of what Jimmy Kimmel had said, which includes what sounds like an inaccurate reference to the shooter. We've followed, of course, that case closely on this broadcast. Andrew Weissman, DOJ and FBI veteran, is here with me. And I kind of want to start with saying this is a pretty big piece of news when you look at the backlash or punishment of speech, something we've been covering. Right. Also, I would say in a news broadcast, if that were on ABC, you would be probably expected to issue corrections or deal with any material that, deliberately or not, over time became inaccurate, right? I don't actually have the exact date of that statement. I just wanted to let viewers know that. And the FCC leader under Donald Trump had also publicly called for this outcome. So there's been both public but specific government pressure. Your reaction to this news?
Well, one, it's worth taking a pause because we will learn more about exactly what the statements are and sort of how this came about. When I hear this, I divide it very much, as you said, what has the government done versus what has a private actor like ABC done? So first, with respect to the government, that's where it's exactly the conversation we were just having with Katie. The government needs to be really respectful of different viewpoints, even when you think that what is being said is inaccurate or deplorable. And so that, to me, is the more problematic thing, where you'd want to know exactly what were they doing, because you really are not supposed to engage in sort of viewpoint discrimination. Now, a private actor is a very different story. The private actor is entitled to voice their opinions and what they have to say. But a company can also have certain, restrictions on what they do. But again, news organizations, they both have to be accurate. They have to be fair. They, as you know, from time to time will issue retractions.
And that's exactly what the problem is. Kimmel was no longer being accurate. He was no longer being fair. Actually, Kimmel has not been accurate and fair for a long time. Personally, I used to be a big Kimmel fan when he was on The Man Show. You don't go from being a conservative, right-leaning man to a left-wing running cover for pedophiles and Democrats on the left gradually. That wasn't a natural progression of his views. He's a grifter. He's actually like Colbert. He's actually paid to say these things, but he doesn't really mean them and he doesn't live them. As far as I know, Jimmy Kimmel doesn't have a boyfriend. He doesn't date a trans person. When you're really on the left, that is their bread and butter. You literally have to live that lifestyle. He's no longer on the left, but he sits on the internet and he sits on his platform and he says things that are not true. As a conservative, we do not mind speech. But what did you guys tell us 3 years ago? You told us that freedom of speech does not mean freedom of reach. Remember, that's what you told us. That's what you told us. That was the deal. Freedom of speech doesn't mean freedom of reach. Jimmy Kimmel is free to say whatever the hell he wants to. However, when you start to celebrate death, when you celebrate murder and assassination, when you celebrate anything criminal, I don't feel we have to look at you with a different lens. There's people being fired from their jobs because they celebrated someone being killed. what does that tell your coworkers? That means that you would also celebrate them being killed. You would probably also kill them because you have no problem with death. See, when you value life a certain way, you can never celebrate someone dying. The reason Hillary Clinton lost the election in 2016 to Trump is not because she's a deplorable bitch. That's one part of it. The main part is when people remember 3 years before that, when someone came and whispered in her ear that Gaddafi had been killed, and she giggled like a fucking schoolgirl. The level of evil that it takes to celebrate even your enemies passing away is the type that is, for a normal person in society, it would be it's abnormal. It's not something that a typical person, a person who literally has some kind of sociopathic, psychopathic tendencies, could celebrate death, even if it's of their worst enemy. Hillary Clinton was extremely happy to see that. The entire world watched it. Subconsciously, it clicked in our heads that if she became president, she's emotional, she's angry, she's evil. We couldn't do it. So we went with at the time, what I considered the lesser of two evils, which was Trump. But I remember being so brainwashed that I called my cousin and I said to him, Trump won. Do you think we're going to have to leave the country? Are we going to get deported? I'm an idiot. That's obviously not what it meant, but that's what CNN told me it meant. The same way you'll see black people get on TV and say, oh, man, now that Trump just won back in November, you're going to have to move to a plantation. Adult black men, preachers, people of prominence, literally got on this internet and lied to millions of people to scare them. If you really thought you were going to go back into slavery, there's airplanes that fly out to Africa every day. Why wouldn't you just get on an airplane and leave? Why would you just stay here to get rounded up? People want to compare Trump to Hitler, America to Germany 1933. The big differences in the 1930s and 40s in Germany was you didn't have the option to leave. It wasn't there. You couldn't just get up and go. Or I'm sure you would have chose to live outside of the Third Reich if you could. In America, you have an option. You don't like our form of governance. You don't like our Constitution. Leave. Jimmy Kimmel has more than enough resources and money where he can actually start up his own network and do his own thing. However, you are being paid by ABC, who has partners all over the place, people who they answer to. If you're celebrating Charlie Kirk, who's the CEO of Turning Point USA, being literally assassinated in front of his children, you would celebrate one of these executives also getting Luigi Mangiani also. That means that you have no limits. I would not want to work with you. I don't want to be in the same Uber with you. I don't want to ride on an airplane with you. You don't value life the same as me. So you're not going to care about my children's life. You're not going to care about my life, my wife. We have nothing in common. We can't really be around you because we no longer trust you. You know, once upon a time, we all could agree that murder was bad and death was bad. Now you have a death cult of trans and gays and black people who murder means nothing. They laugh and say we're smoking on each other. Basically what they're saying is that when you're cremated, they put your ashes in marijuana and they smoke you. Do you want your kids to send your children to school with people who look at death so morbidly? I do not. Do I want to even be friends or be places where people who look at death so just casually, where they don't even care about killing people? Do I want to be in the same room? Would I trust being around them? I do not. So if I'm working at a company and I see a coworker celebrating someone being killed in front of their children because they don't like that he speaks out against pedophiles, and you want to celebrate him dying in front of his kids, that means we're on different wavelengths and I don't trust you. So it's not even about, oh, you're being punished for your freedom of speech. No, you're a safety hazard. You're a risk. And I'm not going to risk all my other employees because guess what? You have a badge, you have permission into the building. Since you're such a psycho where you're celebrating death, how do I know tomorrow you're not going to come in here with a machine gun and just start laying people down and giggling at the same time? I don't know that. But you don't value life. So it is a potential, it's a possibility. And therefore, you no longer can work here. Therefore, we can no longer platform you and you can sit up here and make up lies and say, oh, this obviously gay, trans, autistic kid was a conservative at the same time, just because his father was a conservative. Newsflash, my father was a communist. My grandparents were not. And here I am. I'm not a communist, but I'm in between two sides. That doesn't, just because your dad is a conservative doesn't mean you automatically will be. Matter of fact, I bet you Jimmy Kimmel's parents were conservatives. I bet you any of these people that you're seeing on television talking about liberal ideology, protecting the gays and the trans, love is love. So gender is a man-made construct. So is time. So, well, if he's 50 and she's 8, then that should be allowed. All of these people have conservative parents because a man and a woman had a child. There was nothing gay about it. That's the one thing about conservatives. We reproduce. Liberals and Democrats do not. They can't have families. They can't have kids. They're gay. Adam and Eve, not Adam and Steve. Two men aren't going to put together and have an anal birth. That's not how it works. So you have to understand, you're not your parents. I'm sure Tim Kimmel's going against everything his family taught him, but money means more to some people than anything. Luckily for me, I'm not in a position where someone's going to just say, hey, we're going to give you a certain amount of money and you're just going to lie about what you really feel to get paid. I'd rather be poor. I'd rather just sit here with my little setup or my little microphone and just talk with a little bit of money than be on a stage and I have to sit up there and say, and in today's news, guess what? We had our first successful gender affirmation surgery, and meet Sarah, who used to be Sam. And it's a dude with a 5 o'clock shadow, dick everywhere, balls flying in the wind. But I'm going to call him ma'am. I'm going to call him a woman. That will not happen. The money doesn't matter. What kind of world are you going to live in? What good is all that money in a house fire? You can't take it with you. It does no good. I'm sitting here talking, and I don't care if I only have 1 or 2 viewers. I'm trying to shape the world so that it is habitable to live in 10 years from now. And don't get me wrong, there's been a past couple of years where I can understand why people said I would never want to bring children into this. This is crazy. Jimmy Kimmel has been a sellout and a grifter for years now. The only thing Jimmy Kimmel I can say did is he sold his audience on taking the vaccine. Jimmy Kimmel's audience is the same audience that voted for Kamala Harris. 92% of Black women voted for Kamala Harris. The Blacks, the gays, the trans, they all voted for Kamala. They all watched left-wing Jimmy Kimmel. Jimmy Kimmel and Kamala Harris both told them to roll their sleeves up, go into a drive-thru, let a stranger in a mask walk up and put something in their arm, into their bloodstream, and then go home. So I guess there are some benefits of people like Kimmel, but now those benefits are over. That campaign is over, and we're going to let it run. We're going to let it run its course. But in the meantime, now we're done with you, Kimmel. In your own way, my friend, you made America great again, even if you don't realize it. Because what you don't realize is that the future is coming. There's no way to stop it. This country will be the majority conservative, right-leaning Republican, no matter what. And Kimmel and Kamala Harris guaranteed that for us. So we do owe them a gratitude. Kimmel, you will keep your riches, you will keep your life, and you will move on. You can bring yourself back into the fold by trying to get a show. You can do the Jon Stewart thing. But you were only popular because you were platformed on television. You will no longer have that platform, and people are not going to follow you. You're no Jay Leno. You're not interesting. You don't do things with cars. There's really nothing else about you that was cool. You were funny on the Man Show. If Jimmy Kimmel does a complete 180 and goes back to being a normal conservative man instead of pushing all this gay Democrat bullshit, he will gain an audience. We'll bring him on shows. He can even be in the middle, like that weird Chris Cuomo guy is trying to do. He can exist in that space, but Jimmy's not a reporter. He's not a journalist. His value was manipulating the masses that still watch TV, the Gen Z, not Gen Z, but the boomers and the millennials and people who still trusted televisions. People that have not yet discovered people like myself who will just talk to you like it's just you and me. He hadn't discovered us. Again, freedom of speech does not equal freedom of reach. No one's going to feel comfortable being in the same space with Kimmel because he laughs at death. And I don't care who you are in this world, most people don't want to die. They want to live. Especially nowadays, life is way too interesting with the internet and how fast things are happening. No one wants to be dead. No one wants to be in prison. This is a really good time to be alive. We're living in the Trump years. Do you know in history, 30 years, 100 years from now, they're going to look back and say, could you imagine what it was like to have Donald J. Trump as your president? And we're here to witness it firsthand, the beauty of it all. Personally, I'm a stenographer. It's my job to keep historical records and share them with people in the future and explain to people accurately as to what happened, when, how, why. That's my job. And I'm doing it. Jimmy Kimmel, good luck and fuck off. But then again, I shouldn't say that because Jimmy Kimmel and Kamala Harris, they did us all a favor. Little do they know. Like and subscribe, share the video, Right Wing Rico, single boyfriend. I'll be back with another story shortly. If you have any questions or you disagree, we're on 7-8 platforms streaming right now. Leave your comments. We will reply. Follow us on YouTube if you want real life, actual, comments where I can see them. Also, we're going to be streaming live on Rumble from the Rumble Studio. We're live on Rumble right now, but we're going to start using the Rumble Studio. It's a learning curve on actually getting it set up and using it. I'm not actually sure. There's a couple of things that I'm not getting right. I like to point and click. StreamYard makes that easy. However, I do want to start using the Rumble platform. It just seems like it's more professional, and I'm trying to dress it up a little bit. I might wear a tie and but I'm feeling, like I said, I have my own little personal studio. So I just get in here and I just come talk and I just make these episodes. So follow me on Rumble as well. I'd appreciate it. Thank you. And we'll see you guys shortly.
I've been needing to find a new apartment, which has not been easy with credit as bad as mine. Luckily, I found cosigning.com. They connected me with a cosigner who helped me get my dream apartment for me and my dog. I just paid a small fee and was able to move in fast. Get the cosigner you need for the apartment you want. Check out cosigning.com today.